Hi, welcome to this week's Cattywampus podcast episode with my boy, Jassen Pye.
That's me.
Yep, man, I misspelled your name. I must be honest with you, like 3 or 4. I kept trying to spell it Jason, like Jason,
Right.
but it's like Jason, right? Is that how you would say it? Jason?
I mean, to be honest, it's spelled like Jassen.
Jassen?
But my mother told me it was Jason, but it's spelled Jassen. So, I don't know.
Jassen. I'm going to start
That's
calling
a
you.
Jassen, right?
Yeah, I'm going to start calling you. What's up, Jassen?
Okay.
I'm with my good friend, Jassen.
Funny story real quick.
Yep.
Not really a story, but Christy, my girlfriend's nieces and nephews, when we first started dating, they called me Jay Butson. And the
Jay
innuendo behind it was, right, the butt part, ass, Jay Butson. Anyway.
That's pretty funny.
I thought it was ingenious. So
it is ingenious. Jay Butson. So either I got to start calling you Jay Butson or Jassen, one of the two. But needless to say, man, thanks for being here today. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to share. But we met each other through at Vision Wars.
yeah.
How did you find out about Vision Wars? We don't run any marketing ad campaigns, so there's a few places people find out about us.
So this is, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way, my second time in Vision Wars. So the first time I heard about Vision Wars was kind of coming at me from two directions. A friend of mine or acquaintance at the time was in with y'all, as well as my uncle, I think, was trying to do some things with Scott maybe at the time, and
Financial classes.
Right, it was on the radar with them, so it was coming from that direction as well. So
yeah. So how would you describe, so we had the first stint and we went back out, completely different change in mindset. The last 2-year run here with us it's been awesome to have you with us and just to see you fully live and be fully set free. But what would you say, someone that's watching this, like, how would you describe Vision Warriors to somebody?
I mean, that really depends on the somebody, right? Because
to you, what does Vision Warriors mean to you? How about that? What does Vision Warriors mean to you?
I mean, Vision Warriors means a lot to me. I mean, it's a safe place. To me, the culture inside of Vision Warriors is it's been built. I think that's why I'm ultimately seem to be possibly hard on my house sometimes, is because I want to protect that, right? Just because, I don't want the guys coming in and just, you trying to look for a better word, lollygagging.
Lollygagging is a great word.
Whatever. And, let's get down to business. Let's dig in. We got a lot of life ahead of us. So anyway, I know I took off down the rabbit hole with that, but I mean, Vision Wars is just, an epic place to live and recover and to discover life for somebody that's lived a life of addiction, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, you come in wanting what we had, and it's not just what I have, it's what we all have and what everybody's sharing with one another. And then you're willing to not leave, but step into a leadership role. And it's not because you're getting paid, right? You're still supporting the ministry, all the other things you don't talk about, and then of giving yourself and time and energy to helping manage a house and holding guys accountable to what they say they want. And, it's a really cool and very epic environment because of people like you that are willing to stay or part of it and lead and give away what's been given to them.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody just got what they needed and left, then you'd have somebody there who's getting paid and it's their job to show up every day and manage adult grown men that don't really want to be there, right? But because there's guys like you there and those that keep coming back and are involved in the community, even past living with us, the guys that are there see what they want.
Sure.
They want what they have. So, man, I'm grateful for that, man, without a doubt. So those that are watching and know a little bit about Vision Warriors can probably kind of guess a little bit about where your cattywampus jacked up moment of your life is going to be somewhere. It wasn't. It wasn't at several events. It's going to be in a couple one of these two areas.
Likely.
So, what event would you love to highlight, or time period of your life, or whatever, to share some cattywampus crap?
I have all kinds of cattywampus moments, but I think when you invited me on the show and I just kind of thought about it very briefly, one in particular surfaced to my head, and although that did not stop my addiction, there was a time later in my addiction that I was sick. I was bad sick, and I was suffering emotionally and mentally. I was I was cutting all the time. I had just cuts all over my body. I was going through some relationship stuff, of course. So there was a woman involved, ripping my heart out, right? But it's all my fault, of course. Look at you.
Yeah.
You're look at you.
Yeah.
Why would she be around? But anyway, and I was living in Chattanooga at the time. I say living, my poor grandmother. She'd take me in whenever, however, whatever condition I was in, and so I was in her home, and I kept falling off into crisis stabilization units. I was just hurting, really, I guess. And then I guess one night I don't want to call it an attempted suicide, but I was in my grandmother's garage, just broken, and I didn't want to die, but I wanted to die, So I'm standing up on this ladder with this rope around my neck, around the trusses, and I guess I didn't have the balls to do it, really. I called 911. I'm like, y'all come get me because it's about to be over with. Seconds later, the police were there and kicking in the doors and cut me down, and I wound up at Moccasin Bend State Hospital.
Moccasin
Moccasin Bend in Chattanooga, and I was, it was several days in, and my aunt came to visit me, and I'm just surrounded by these crazy people, right? But
You're not one of them.
I'm one of these crazy people, apparently. But I remember my aunt coming to visit me, and I couldn't even hardly talk. Like they just had me so paralyzed. Whatever they had me on, right? Thorazine or whatever they had me on, I couldn't even hardly talk. I'm drooling out my mouth, and I'm looking at my aunt. I'm like, what are they doing to me? What's going on? And I can't remember if she said this or anyway. Essentially, they were protecting me from me, right? And I think that was probably one of my bigger cattywampus moments, is just to be able to go, wow, the state has taken possession of me. Mm-hmm. Inside of an institution. Of course, that's where we end up regardless if we don't stop. And in order to protect me, or keeping me so doped up that I can't even hardly move, talk, whatever. So that was I think that was probably,
That's pretty jacked up.
that's pretty jacked up.
That would qualify as a cattywampus moment.
I
of your
think
life.
so. I think so.
So you're there in the hospital or an institution, right?
Right.
Sitting there, can't hardly talk, can't really move, because and they're doing that because they're protecting you from yourself.
Exactly.
What have you learned, or what have you put together to navigate from where you're a threat to yourself to where you're an advocate for yourself, right? Like you're your biggest cheerleader, and you're going to go out and do what you got to do, and being proactive. Not saying that you're not getting counsel and other things, but that's two different. You got the freedom.
No,
You got the freedom to do.
You're
So
right. It is, and I guess mostly, man, like a lot of us that are lucky enough to find our way out of addiction, and that really genuinely have the desire to change, right? And it's funny, I was reading a book the other day. I'll paraphrase it because I don't know it exactly, but it said, for an individual, true authentic change has to come from some sort of emotional something instead of intellectual. But anyway,
like an emotional heart change where you feel it and believe it.
well, you just can't think, right, that I want to change, but usually a change comes from being so emotionally, i.e., broken,
pain or discomfort or growth.
Right. That's where the change is going to happen. Divorces, prison terms, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's usually change on the other side of that. I don't know why I went off on that, but anyway. So, what I've taken away, I guess, or what's changed since then, and how I've got there is right. Many moons after that, anyway, I ended up. Not many moons, but several years after.
I was about to say many moons. How many is many moons?
All right.
That's jacked up. Like he's over here. Are you Indian?
Possibly.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, because if not, that could be politically incorrect, and then we could be canceled because you're making a many moons comment. I just want to make sure that.
Well, maybe I was referring to one of my Indian brothers.
Maybe so. I don't know. I just want to say, Cattywampus does not endorse, support any of that. Okay.
Anyway, so I had several years later, I went to ended up in the penitentiary, right? And inside of the penitentiary, still broken, of course, but I started, and ironically, the where I started to learn and figure out and accept and receive love, ultimately, from the source, God, right? Was in the penitentiary, isolated by myself, where I had no choice but to seek, right? So that's where it first started shifting and changing, is I understood, or I came to understand, or I was gifted with the understanding, however you want to look at it, that all my life I had been living and making choices and etc. out of fear. Just fear everything. Every choice I made was rooted out of fear. And when I was able to see that, right, that everything I had done up to that point was rooted in fear. Just a shift started happening. And there is at that time, I don't know that I really recognized it then. I recognized that it was an aha moment, but like today, I just have this thirst inside of me just for constant growth and change, and be it spiritually or mentally or however it is. I want more.
And it's in that I've experienced in you. It's not out of because you're not content with what you have.
No, absolutely.
And it's not out of greed or anything like that. So it's not someone listening and say, "Oh, he's just trying to accumulate more money." It's knowledge, it's understanding, it's all development and pursuit of more vision and purpose.
Absolutely. Money is naturally going to be a byproduct of all of this, right? But no, I want, there's some really there's some really epic people out there. You being one of them, right?
We gotta introduce you some more people.
Maybe so.
Yeah, we gotta introduce you some more people.
You know, I just I have a thirst inside me to just surround myself with those people, become those people, and you know, where are we going? What are we doing?
Yeah, well, and it's just like the you know, my buddy that was on the show last, we were sitting there talking about it, and what it comes down to is like that mentor mentee, you know, and he said, a lot of people have said it, you know, Andy was on the show maybe like 6 months ago, actually wrote a book called the 40-40 Principle, right? Is if you're over 40, spend as much time as you can with those under 40. And if you're under 40, spend as much time you can with those that are over 40, especially when aligned in your areas of passion and interest and expertise, because then that way you're gaining their knowledge, most of from their mistakes, not what they read in a textbook or what they saw somewhere, but hey, I tried that, it didn't work out, here's why.
Right.
You know, you can go try it if you want to, but it's there. But learning that through that application really helps, because you're gaining experience, especially in like recovery. We're following those that have went ahead of us.
Right.
You don't have to know everything. It's just, okay, you've navigated a day more than I have.
Right.
So how did you do it? You know, what do I need to do? And gaining that expertise or wisdom from their experience, strength, and hope. It works professionally, relationally, recovery, everything. And I think that's a benefit we have, I think, in recovery, have been fully surrendered and fully broken, versus a guy that's out there still trying to think that he can do it all on his own. Right? That's insanity. That is freaking cattywampus, right? Yeah. Like if you're watching and you're going insane because you got it under control, call us. We want you on the show, because they're through my brokenness and through that reality of I'm not going to be able to do this by myself.
Right.
I just didn't have another choice. I didn't have another choice, right? When it came down to the end of it, and you're sitting there and your aunt's telling you you're doped up so much because you can't even take care of yourself. Right. They're going to sit here and they have to medicate you this heavily because they believe that you're a threat to yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? That's insanity.
Right.
And we stay comfortable in that. And that, dude, that's jacked up.
It is jacked
right?
up.
You know? And so, you know, what do you think another piece, if you sit there and you look through that deal, is like kind of coming through there? What's another piece there that's a big component or portion of your navigating through those earlier days of recovery?
So I guess I don't know if this will apply or not. Maybe it will.
Sure.
I'm going to make it apply.
Perfect.
So the first time I came to Vision Warriors, right, I knew I wanted a different life.
Yep.
And like I think most of us that want a different life or want to live in recovery, we don't know how, and we don't even really understand. Like when guys come in to our facilities, right, and we're like, you know, if you want what we have, do what we do. That's a simple concept, right?
But it's really simple.
But it's not easy.
No,
it's not easy. And even to grasp that, I don't know. But anyway, the first time I was in, right, I had started dating a girl when I was, of course, inside Vision Wars, which was a mistake in itself. But she taught me a valuable lesson, right? Or essentially, I turned a corner. Before, let me back up a little bit. I was dating her before I came into Vision Warriors the first time, and I developed some deep feelings for her. And of course, she was one of us, right? So I was watching her, right, and I see how sick she is, right? And for the first time in my life, I understood how like my family felt, right? My aunt, my uncle, brothers, sisters, whatever it may be, I have all these people looking at me, right, in my disease, and just they're hurting.
Yeah.
They're hurting, they're hurting, they're hurting. And I never even thought about it or considered it or anything before. But I saw that, and I was hurting because of her. And that's initially when I decided to try. I came to Vision Warriors, right? And I made it 8 months. But at that time I didn't really do what y'all did, essentially, right?
Yeah. You
That,
did the minimum.
yeah, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But
It worked out well for you, didn't it?
yeah, it did work out
Yeah,
well.
that's great.
I did manage 8 months, but essentially went back out, and 3 days later was back on my way to the penitentiary. So anyway, I don't know if that qualified or not.
No, it qualified. I mean, because a lot of times we look relationally to try to fill voids.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's like that feel that need of want of being needed somewhere and be a part of something. And then I know that you got plenty of advice from your brother's vision where it's like, this is not what you should be focusing on right now. Not yet.
Right.
Especially someone that you can't save her.
Right.
You are a danger to yourself, that's Cattywampus, right?
Is.
I mean, it really is. And it's there. So what would you say? I have our thing on here, and I know some of yours because it's just as much as we talk and around each other, but I call them my double D's, my daily disciplines. So what are Jassen's daily disciplines that you're doing today that if you'd have told yourself 2 or 3 years ago, like, hey, you need to do these things every day, you'd have looked at yourself like, dude, you're freaking like you're crazy. Who are you? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
what's that look like for you?
So my feet hit the floor at 4:00 every morning.
Yep.
And so this ebbs and flows and changes also, but essentially every morning I have to feed myself spiritually, right? I have to feed myself intellectually. So currently, I guess, I'll get up and I'll feed myself spiritually first, be it usually a short session of journaling followed by 10 minutes of meditation, prayerful meditation. And then after that, I'll go into just something intellectual, right? Reading usually of sort. Right now I'm reading a book. I'm reading a lot surrounding leadership right now. And then after that, which I actually just re-implemented this week or late last week, was physical exercise. For the first year, just over a year here, that's what I was doing. And I thought, that's what I have to do. I have to. And then something pulled me away from the gym, and it was okay. At first I'm like, this isn't going to work, but
Yeah.
it was okay. But now I'm at a place, right, where I want to re-implement that. So anyway, just as of last week, I'm, at the gym at 5 when they open, and I spend, 45 minutes exercising, and then get ready and go home, get ready and leave for work. And then on the way to the site, wherever it may be, I'm still feeding myself intellectually with a podcast, usually on the way to work.
I know a good one you can listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing is I've got to watch those disciplines that you've put into play, right? And it, when you get into that, there's the things that you're going to hold near and dear to you that you want to implement. You stay very disciplined on it. Right. And it's like, if you don't find the value in it, then you don't put the effort into the discipline.
Sure.
So, and that's most people. Most people though just wouldn't ever admit that. But if we look at where we spend our time, energy, and effort, and what we focus on, and how we stay disciplined on that those are the things that we're really holding closest to us.
Sure.
And so it's pretty cool to watch and see that. So, how epic is life right now? Like, how would you describe life? I think you to live an epic life, you had to do what?
Epic shit.
Yeah. So to get that, how would you describe it right now?
Well, I mean, I think all of us, I guess, consider epic differently, right? Or epic shit differently. As a matter of fact, you added on to that whole, in order to live an epic life, you got to do epic shit. What did you add on to it?
It's basically you got to associate yourself with and be around individuals that are doing epic shit.
Right.
That I view as epic. If not,
that you view as epic.
That if not, then I'm not really doing anything epic. I'm just doing what's easy.
Right.
And lying to myself and telling myself, oh, this is epic.
Yeah.
Well, no, because someone else thinks it is, does not mean that it is.
Right.
Do I truly believe that this is something worth doing and is epic?
So, today I think life is pretty epic. And what I consider epic and what you consider epic are likely different, I'm sure. And that's okay. But for instance, I consider it, doing it's a funny story. When I took Christy to Alabama back a few months ago and we did Walls of Jericho hike, I considered that pretty epic.
That is epic.
That was an epic hike. And it's just, stuff like that. I consider going to the gym and pushing myself pretty epic because, I might be on the treadmill running and thinking I'm gonna die, but that's just
part of it.
That's just the weakness leaving, and so there's all kinds of epic going on in my life. I feel, I have a pretty epic girlfriend. I have a pretty epic job. I know some epic people in my mind. And I'm just excited about the future, really. I don't know what it looks like still. I don't know that I need to know what it looks like, but I'm excited about it.
No, dude, it's just been awesome being on that journey with you. It really has been. And the way that you live and the way that you serve is truly authentic, right? And it's a pleasure to be around you. So if you do me a favor, you look just into this one camera right here for the dude that's sitting there, right? And just thinks, man, they don't want to kill themselves, but they don't want to live, right? They can't. It's like life just sucks and as cattywampus as it can get. What would you tell them? What would you wanted someone to tell, knowing what you know now? Like, what would you have wanted someone to say to you sitting in there?
So there's a couple, little, I guess, mantras or whatever that I've picked up along the way. And this being one that really stuck, right? We're going to suffer either way. And this came from you, and I don't know where you got it, but, we're going to suffer either way. Right. So, I mean, choose your suffering, are you going to suffer in the pain of regret, or are you going to suffer the pain of discipline? And discipline, there's suffering inside of it, but that suffering is so epic. I love that kind of suffering. Today I do. I mean, choose your suffering.
That's the truth. We all have it. We all wake up every day the same way. We put on our pants and our shoes the same way, right?
Exactly.
It's what kind of life do you want?
Right.
And I would challenge you, if you're watching this today, to find the joy and the pain of discipline rather than the destruction, the depression, the anxiety, and the hurt and the pain of regret. It's your choice. If you want help with it, if you want to talk with us, if you want out, you don't have to talk to me. I can get you connected up with Jason or anybody else. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're watching and you want what we have, you want a story like this, which I get to participate in, and it makes me better. And I'm grateful for you, grateful for your service, grateful for your willingness to share, and your friendship and all your support, man. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Grateful for you too.
Yeah, man. Thanks for watching this week. Check back next week to hear who's jacked up, what they do to get out of it, and how they can help you. We're gonna say it again. And shuck your shit. Get rid of the stuff that's holding you down, man.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch
Dude,
that.
I love it. I love it. I mean,